camera here. I was telling Cleo earlier, I was like, okay, this isn't ready. I think that's part of the charm. And then I forgot what I said after that. Something about...
Literally, we've been on the call for like 3 seconds.
We got on the call 3 seconds ago. I'm going to lower this camera.
And then I said, we can wait, Joe. And Joe went, no, I think that's part of the charm. And I was like, all right, then.
Yeah, I think that's
fine.
Bits are part of the charm. Having that included is part of the charm.
I mean...
I don't know what to do with this.
You do believe you are very charming. This is true.
I do 100% believe that. Okay, well, we'll sort this for later in the stream. I've got a prop today, but I don't want to get in...
Those are always fun days.
Yeah. Oh, it's... Yeah. But I also actually have to get my pinball machine thing, like, designed, because...
Okay.
One of the things... okay, that's... So, we're not going live on Twitch, because there's a problem with that camera, and I don't have... I'm not going to fix that. I'm just doing YouTube today. The Twitch camera is now hanging from a wire in front of the YouTube camera. So...
That's fair.
That's how that's going. I made the decision to try and do both today a little bit late in the process.
Okay.
But that's okay, because you're representing on Twitch.
I do represent on Twitch.
Yes. I am going to do a couple Twitch streams this weekend, I think, just to let people know that I still exist and that sort of thing.
I'm not convinced you exist. Sorry, knocking the camera there.
It's okay. I'm bumping into everything.
Yeah, I know. At least one of us should be professional.
Yeah, like, we're going to take turns being professional. Yeah, I have, oh boy, I am so excited to talk to you today, Cleo. This is not sarcasm. I know sometimes when I use my enthusiastic voice, it's sarcasm, but
it does feel like sarcasm.
I have had a bit of a day yesterday, and the whole time I was like, I'm really looking forward to talking to Cleo about this.
I did get that vibe off you yesterday, actually.
Oh my God.
It did feel definitely like you were having a moment.
I don't know if you saw my note in the TCG thing. Don't look at it if you haven't already, but...
I have not.
Okay, well then don't look at it, because but yeah.
Okay.
So, basically, yesterday was like a lot, because I was up late the night before trying to get the video edited and out the door. Because, one of my high school teachers had passed away, and I needed to go to his funeral. And
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so that was kind of one of those things where, like, I was, like, not in the best place, but, like, yeah, so that was why I was kind of like, okay, guys, can we make decisions quickly for a change? And everybody's like, no! And I'm like, come on. Yeah, but, I shouldn't have unreasonable expectations of other people, even when I'm in a hurry. And expecting the hermits to commit to something we agreed on a month ago and not change it while I'm on my way out the door for something like that is completely unrealistic. Anyway. But no, I wanted to talk, like, about kind of some of the positive parts of teaching a little bit, because I know a lot of times when we talk, about teaching, it's a lot of, like, your miserable personal experience in the school or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But
yes.
I wanted to talk a little bit about my teacher and, just some stuff I was thinking about kind of during the funeral, if that makes any sense.
You can absolutely do that, yes.
So, for one thing I think about a lot is how much energy I put into things, right? Like, I really, because of my fatigue problems, I try to avoid putting too much energy into any one thing, because I might be wiped out later. And I realized that I thought this guy was like 15 years younger than he was, because he wasn't like an energetic, he wasn't bouncing around the room or anything, but he was just like so focused and engaged. Like, a lot of the teachers had kind of checked out, right? They had been there for a while, and they're like, okay, now that cell phones exist, I am never looking up again,
Yeah, I get, yeah.
some viewers might have seen the show Community, where the Jeff writes the word law on the board and then says, "Okay, I'm gonna put on Moana." Uh, and
Yeah.
this was not one of those teachers. There's a reason that I drove an hour and a half for his funeral.
I mean, that's absolutely fair, yeah.
Yeah, because there were, like, we had some good teachers at my high school. Not all of them were good, not all of them were bad, but there were two of them that, like, you know how the kids on Tumblr like to put things into tiers? I'm not good at ranking things, but, like, sometimes something is so obvious that, like, you know, I'm just like, okay, well, if you were gonna tier my high school teachers, this instructor and the AP English teacher were the two, like, S tier, which I think is superior tier. Like,
I think so, yeah.
You know what I mean?
In the common parlance, I do believe that is the case, yes.
Yeah, like they would be the two, like, standout teachers. And when my English teacher, who was the other S tier teacher, had passed away a few years back, a bunch of us who had been her students got in the car and drove down from Nashville for the funeral. And
sweet.
yeah, it was good. Like, her family appreciated seeing a few students there, and so, you know, I wanted to do the same for this other teacher who was a calculus teacher, and unfortunately, there was less notice this time, and, like, the timing wasn't great for a lot of people because they were working or traveling for work or whatever.
Right, so it was just you.
So it's just me. And the thing is, too, I will say, people who are good, or, like,
pause a second.
Yeah.
Cutting out. Okay, start again.
Okay. I will say again. Too, you know, it's one of those things where, so, it was one of those things where I got to the chapel or whatever at the funeral home. Do you guys have chapels and funeral homes?
We do, yes. Those are things that exist here.
Okay, well, like, for sometimes, like, there's weird stuff that just doesn't overlap, where it's like, oh no, we would do that in a, I don't know, pub, or who knows.
I mean, funeral homes do exist here, but they're not the way they seem to be in America, which is, you know, you do all your viewings and stuff there.
Yeah.
Because we don't really have, like, I've never seen a dead body at a funeral home. And I don't actually know that anyone in my life ever has. That might be because my family is just like, we don't want to see the body. Or if it's just like a universal thing. But yeah.
Okay, because that's very common in America. Like, that's expected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna switch to the other microphone real quick so I can be sketching while I talk.
That's what I understand from the movie My Girl. That it's very common in America.
Can you still hear me okay? I'm on the other mic now. Okay.
We're fine, Joe.
So anyway, I got there, and, you know, one thing I realized about this teacher was reading his obituary. He always seemed like he put 100% into the classroom. Like, I know you don't necessarily have AP courses, which is advanced placement courses in.
No, that's not a thing.
So what?
Sometimes we do in high school let really gifted students take A-level classes, but that is incredibly rare.
So basically, this counts as a college credit, and he taught the college level 4-credit calculus classes, and so that's like the highest math teacher in the school in terms of skill or what you would need, right? And he was like one of the top in the country for the percentage of his students that got the best possible score. Like, this test, basically you could get a 1 or 2 are different levels of failing. A 3, some state universities might accept your knowledge as acceptable for college credit. A 4, some private universities. 5, basically it's considered, you know this inside and out. Any university will give you credit. At least that's how it was when I was in high school. They've changed that since universities wanted to sell more courses. But anyway, so he had one of the highest percentages of, like, 5s, like, basically maximum. It's not necessarily a perfect score, but it's demonstrating mastery or complete mastery of calculus in the country. He was, and so people were very, like, this is an engineering town also. Like this is like a town like the town Eureka, where it was built around an Air Force base. That the things they can talk about include
Right.
having some of the largest wind tunnels in the world, and the things they can't talk about include, I'll leave it to your imagination. So
military secrets.
But a lot of the parents there are engineers. It's a town where the Air Force base has 4,000 civilian engineers, 40 Air Force officers, and 4 enlisted guys to work at the gate. Normally, a military base would have a lot more enlisted guys than officers, and a lot more of both than civilian engineers. So this is a weird... But anyway, so this guy is incredibly highly respected. All the parents who are engineers want their kids to have this guy teach them calculus, right? My personal experience taking his class, I found he was like such a good lecturer, and he used such great examples of like talking about how this stuff worked, that I didn't really need to do the homework, because, you know, part of the point of homework is to like solidify the concepts in your head. And so at one point he, you know, and this is not like, oh, I'm so smart I don't have to do the homework. I'm like, oh, this guy's just really good at explaining this, right? And so at one point he had a parent-teacher conference with my parents, because he's like, Joe has a 71 in the class. He's barely passing because he's not doing the homework. And my parents are like, oh, well, he doesn't like doing homework. How poorly is he doing in terms of the concepts? Do you think he's going to be able to pass the AP test at the end of the year? And the teacher's like, no, he knows them inside and out. He's going to get a 5. And my parents were like, well, I think he's just going to take the C here. We're not going to...
Yeah, no.
We're like, good job? Like, you know, we're not going to talk him into doing the homework unless he's in danger of not getting the college credit. And the teacher's like, no, he knows it. He just doesn't want to work. And my parents are like, yeah, we know.
That sounds about right.
That sounds right. Okay, cool. Thank you for being a good teacher. We appreciate you. So, but yeah, this guy, he put up with a lot. Like, because the thing is, though, just because you're dealing with the smart kids doesn't mean you're not dealing with the smart Alex, too. You know what I mean? I was not the biggest goofball in that class, either. But, like, yeah, it was... It was.
Oh, really... I believe you weren't the biggest goofball. I do believe you were the biggest pain in the ass, though.
I probably was. I was not. But the thing is, though, to some degree, like, once I understood the, you know, he would give some examples and explain the concept. If I didn't understand something, I would ask maybe a sarcastic question, or give a, like, would a comparable example be, with like a funny example? But like, once he had explained it to my understanding, I would shut up and let other people do it, and then I would sit and read Douglas Adams or something. You know, like, okay, cool, I get it. I'm gonna read my book now. So, you know, I stayed out of the way for the most part. But like, I do think, one thing though, so at the end of senior year, there's a cookout at his house the night before the AP Calculus test, because he's just
blimey.
like,
okay.
You should know everything. You should know this inside and out by now. There's no last minute studying. If your parents are like, you need to cram for this test, they don't understand what I've been doing all year. You're expected to come to this barbecue. And so my friends and I were like, oh, we should try and buy him like some sort of thank you gift or something. And it's like, well, what do you buy a teacher? Well, people usually get him gift cards. It's like, oh, that seems impersonal. And one of his kids was in our school, and so we asked her. We're like, so what kinds of stuff would your dad like as a gift? Does he, you know, maybe movies or books or? And she's like, oh, he's the worst person to buy stuff for. Basically, anything he needs, he buys. Anything he wants, he either already has or has access to, or like. There's not, he doesn't collect anything, you know, it's not like one, you know, because there's some people,
there's such a pain.
There's some people that like penguins and stuff, and you can just buy them a penguin plush, and they're like, oh my God, it's another penguin, you know, but like, this is not that guy. And we're like,
here's the thing, I'm just going to interject with a little story of my own.
Yeah.
Like, I like Star Wars, it's all right, I enjoy it. However, the way my family buys me gifts, you'd think that was the only interest I ever had.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. Like, I'm just going to interject with a little story of my own. Like, I love Star Wars. It's all right. I enjoy it. However, the way my family buys me gifts, you'd think that was the only interest I ever had. that's the problem with that sort of mentality. They're like penguins. Not another penguin. So anyway, carry on.
Yeah. So we're asking his daughter, and she's like, no, there's never anything he needs that he doesn't have. There's never anything he wants. Like, he's like and not like he's a miserable person who finds no joy in anything, but just like, he's content. He lives a good life. He does what he wants to do, and he's happy. And so, like, trying to find a meaningful gift for him is one of the hardest things. And we're just like, ugh. So there's just, like, nothing... There's no gaps. There's nothing, like, that, you know, he lost recently or needs a new one of. It's due to be replaced. It's getting old. And she's like, oh, well, he is part of the Greenway building and repair, like, volunteer group. And somebody broke his shovel on Saturday. And we're like, awesome. We are gonna go. We asked everybody, hey, you know, we're gonna buy the teacher a shovel because his broke, and we want to say thank you, and we're gonna present it at the barbecue as from the whole class. Does everybody want to chip in a few bucks? So we went to the hardware store and we bought like the Cadillac of shovels. This is that because, you know, we had like 60 kids from two or three classes. Everybody's chipping in $1 or $2, you know. So we went and bought the nicest shovel possible. We boxed it up or something. And, you know, at the barbecue, he gives a little speech about how we're all going to do well on the test tomorrow. The best thing we can do is relax tonight. And, you know, he's got confidence in us.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're like, well, you know, sir, we actually got you a little gift. And he's just like, you can tell he does this every year. And every year they're like, we got you something. And he's like putting on his pretending to be pleased face.
Yeah.
And so, you know, somebody has like gone out to his car and brings this box out, and, you know, he opens it, and he's just like, a shovel? I don't need a shovel. He's like, I do need a shovel. I needed a shovel. This is the best. Like, he was so excited because we had actually like gotten him a meaningful gift, which like doesn't happen to him.
Yeah.
and so that was, you know, one of those things where like I didn't really keep in touch with him over the years because I am a disappointment to a math instructor in a lot of ways. I don't, you know, I'm not one of the kids that like went on to become like, you know, one of my classmates went on to work on the Pluto probe that brought back the pictures of Pluto. You know, like,
cool. Yeah.
Like, people from this
That's
engineering.
The kid that he wants on his resume.
Yeah. There are a lot of kids that went on to become like nuclear scientists and all sorts of like really complex things where they use calculus every day. You know, and so they could, you know, they might have kept in touch a little better than I did. But, you know, I knew though from that experience, that was the first time I really heard about him really doing anything outside of school though, because he was so involved and so focused and so. He put so much energy into the classroom. I was like, I didn't even know he did this Greenway construction thing because he lived one town over, and we didn't really go one town over, you know, at that age.
I mean, it's already weird to me that you were invited to his house, that you knew where he lived.
That's atypical. This is not okay. But like this is a once a year tradition he had been doing for decades or whatever.
It's yeah, we'd probably be reported for that.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, this is also one of those, like, it's not like he's inviting individual students over. He's got 60 students there, and he's got several parents helping him with the food and logistics, and it's an event. It's a party. It's not, you know. So, anyway, but, like, this Greenway thing, I was just like, I had no idea that he would, like, Tennessee has some really great greenways. That's, like, trails and whatever. You know, for hiking or walking, relaxing in the woods. And but like usually the difference between a hiking trail and a greenway is a greenway has like multiple trailheads connected to around town. So you can walk from one part of town to another instead of like cutting through downtown. You could take the loop on the greenway, and, you know, the trail would have like, it would go under the road with tunnels and stuff. But yeah, so the idea is that you could walk or bike bypassing streets for like a mile or two, you know, maybe 3 or 4 in some cases. So anyway, I had no idea he did that. And I'm like, that's so cool that he has this other thing too. And then, like, I found out in his obituary, he apparently was also, like, a deacon at his church, and he was really involved with organizing all sorts of things at the church. And so I get to I had no idea about that until I read the obituary, because, you know, you don't talk about religious stuff in a public school. You know,
No.
you're not supposed to. So I get to the funeral at this chapel, and there's 40 or 50 people in line ahead of me to sign the guest book. And I'm looking, and I saw, like, one other student who was, like, leaving as I was coming in, who was, like, a year below me. And, but him and his dad, like, weren't staying for the service. They were just coming to pay their respects or whatever beforehand. Because there was, like, a 2-hour visitation in the service. And I was like, okay, well, other than him, almost everyone here, except for, like, 4 or 5 people who were, like, drastically younger than me. Maybe they were the last class he taught, like, you know, a decade ago or 5 years ago or whatever. There's a few people that are drastically younger than me, but, like, I don't see a lot of other students here. You know, I guess this is like just his church and his volunteering and all the outreach he's done with the Greenway projects and being involved in his city. And that's, like, amazing to me that he had this, like, huge world outside of, you know, teaching, despite bringing so much energy into teaching. So at one point, though, the minister of his church is given a eulogy for him. And he mentions, you know, he taught a lot of students over the decades. You know, how many of his students are here today? And I raised my hand, and, like, this room probably has, like, maybe 100 to 120 people in it. I'm not great at estimating that, but, like, it was dozens and dozens of people. And, you know, I look over, you know, there's the few people that were younger than me they're raising their hands, but also, like, half of the chapel who are, like, you know, 10 to 20 years older than me. I thought they were just all old church people. I guess it just turns out if you have seniority at your job, it's easier to get off to go to a funeral, you know? So, like, the people my age couldn't come. And it's just like, wow. Like, this guy did a lot over a long time, you know?
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So that was...
I'm glad you had a I'm going to call it a meaningful moment at the funeral.
Yeah.
Where you just recognize the impact someone had over multiple people's lives.
Yeah, and also, like, I think there's something, like, to be learned, and I'm not gonna like make any immediate life changes or anything, but just, like, thinking about, you know, the fact that he was able to, like, I'm not really involved too much at the local city level or with my kids' school or whatever. It's like, I feel like as a single parent, like, I'm already running myself redline all the time, but, like...
Yeah, like, a lot of the time, I do feel like that is how you live your life, yes.
Yeah, but, like, you know, like, he seemed like he put everything he had into that school, but then he did, like, several other things really well as well.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, I've been focusing on, like, just, like, hermitcraft and parenting. And I'm trying to, like, expand into being more active with my friends and stuff the last few months, going out and doing pinball games and stuff with them and tournaments and stuff with them. And, like, I feel like that's good, but, like, you know, it's kind of one of those things, like, not every... Like, there's this creeping thing when you make YouTube videos where it's like everything has to somehow tie back into, like, oh, can I monetize this?
Content. Yeah, and everything is content.
Yeah, and so, like, you know, with him, like, he didn't talk about his life outside of class in class. And some of my other favorite teachers did that. They talked about their life outside of class all the time. I had a physics teacher who was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam, and we heard a lot of really interesting stories about being a helicopter pilot in Vietnam. But, like, nothing like that from this guy. You know what I mean? Like there's different approaches and stuff. And I'm thinking, like, you know, I need to be... I'm going to consider, like, maybe finding certain parts of my life to, like, segment off better. Just to have them, you know, for me. Or my family. You know, I don't know.
No, I get that.
So...
like when you make videos, the compulsion to make a video about everything is very large.
Mm-hmm.
I understand entirely, Joe. I experience it myself.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, should I write a tweet about this? Should I do this? Should I do that? It's like, okay, sometimes
you don't have to.
No, yeah, you don't have to. And so
Not
like
tweets anymore, Joe. Sorry,
Oh yeah,
I'm
sorry, it's kisses now.
We're gonna ignore the fact that that's happened and just keep on calling it tweets. I think I've decided. It's also the thing that's made me go, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, it's
literally that. Yeah. Out of all the things, it's just like, oh God,
this is
just
the
pathetic
one.
now. This is the straw.
Yeah. Oh boy, I'm realizing. Dang it, I had the wrong Discord window open. Sorry, Patreon Discord people.
Okay, I've got things like now we've taken a minor lull. Homicidal Hippie resubscribed for 23 months. Thank you very much. Captain Zemo has resubscribed for 27 months. Bon has cheered Cleo Biddies. Cezero subscribed for 11 months. That was 17 hours ago. I'm going to stop saying things. Thank you very much. Hello, NJ. Hello, chat. It's good to see you. I'm glad we're all sharing stories about our good teachers and shovels.
Yay. Well, that's the thing though, is I really do genuinely believe that buying someone tools that they will use is one of the most impactful gifts.
I brought myself a very impactful tool that I will use yesterday.
Oh yeah?
I bought a label maker.
Ooh.
Because I was thinking like I've also I'm moving soon. So my brain is just sort of like, I need to get organized. I need to put things. And then I bought a whole row of Ziploc bags. Mm-hmm. So I've started putting in my Switch has gone in a bag with the cable and it's been labeled Switch. So I know where it goes and they're all going in a box. So all my electronic things and all their cables are going to be in the same baggie that's labeled.
Ooh, you got your cable labels.
Cable labels. I've done that to one of my microphone cables, and I'm going to be honestly, it's a tool I will continue to use because I've now seen the benefit. Mm-hmm. So buying tools for people that they will use is a good thing. There's nothing worse than when your gift goes unused, I felt.
Oh, yeah. And I feel guilty when I get gifts that I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Or it's like, even if I'm like, well, I'll display this when I have a nicer place to live with room to display things. And it's like, when will I? I don't know.
No, I don't know if that's my connection or yours.
Can of
Russia, a bit robot-y.
Can of Russia tips 3 and says, I always love your stories. Here's a little bit to hopefully encourage other people to tip. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and rotate the camera 3 degrees here. Transform, edit, transform. 3. So if anybody else would like to...
not a label. Sorry.
Yeah, if anyone else would like to support the show, tips are welcome via paypal.me/Joe Hills and YouTube Super Chat.
Same. Except for not for Joe Hills, but for me. But,
yeah. Badger says that the stream audio is fine, so it's something on the Discord between you and I, it sounds like.
Yeah, I figured that might be the case.
Oh, that's where the breakdown is.
That's okay.
Okay, yeah. People in my chat are also asking how we feel about not using the proper names for companies. Well, when Blackwater rebranded to Z, which was spelled XE, it was so that people would stop talking about the crimes they committed. And I don't feel like it's to some degree, I feel like companies shouldn't be able to hide behind name changes to conceal malfeasance. We got 7 rolling in from Chloe the Great and Powerful for Shovel Fund. Well, I don't actually need a shovel. There are some other things I am going to need, though. We could talk about those later. But, yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a difference between how you treat humans and how you treat corporations.
It should be different, yes.
It should be different, especially if that company is actively doing things that hurt people.
Yes.
Then doing anything that helps... I'm not going to help them obfuscate the harm they're causing. You know what I mean? No. Like, the whole point of renaming Blackwater to Z was anybody who was like, did you hear that Z killed a bunch of Iraqis, would sound like a crazy person. Like, what's Z? Is that a comic book villain? Is that Marvel?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it does sound weird. So yeah, like it's like, if a person changed their name, that's a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's being respectful to somebody's identity about what they want to be called. A corporation isn't a person. Mm-hmm. They don't really feel anything about what they're called, except for they're not going for it. And honestly, I think, like, with the way Twitter has been recently, I think, you know, like, going down with that ship, you know?
Yeah.
Is a different thing.
Yeah, thank you, Chloe the Great and Powerful, for tipping a second 7. I realize that there's now a little thing I can heart the messages that or the YouTube tips that have come in that I've recognized. Chloe the Great and Powerful tips the second $7 toward the metaphorical shovel fund. Well, that's, yeah, we are going to need those. Oh, boy. Okay. So I'm supposed to be, I scheduled this stream, like, planning to work on my pinball machine layout. And so I'm gonna try and focus on that. But yeah, I guess just kind of I just wanted to share a little bit of positive teacher stuff,
I think,
on the stream, because you know, it's really hard when you're in a job sometimes to appreciate the positive impact that job has for the people you're helping, because you're stuck in the politics of it and the misery of all of the
I mean, I feel like a lot of times when it's teaching, the problem is never the children and the problem is never the teaching. So, you know, it's like, I think I've always said that the problem is never the teaching, the problem is always the adults. So, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I think teaching is valid, worthwhile, and actually has an opportunity to be a lot of fun as a teacher. However, you have to get the right school, you have to be the right with the right people, you have to have the right department, you know. So, yeah.
No, that makes sense.
And I apologise if you can hear the children who have been screaming pretty much non-stop for the last 2 hours. So
Cameron JK suggests, what if we both leave the Discord channel and then rejoin? That might establish a new connection. Yeah, we can try that. 1 sec.
We'll try that. Okay.
Okay, now I gotta rejoin. That's inconvenient, but it's a good idea. Okay, maybe this will be a little better.
Maybe. I mean, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Leo forgot to soundproof the basement.
Oh no.
You know I don't have a basement, Abby. You're the only person in this chat that's been to my house.
Yay.
The only reason why those children aren't screaming in the basement, because I don't have one.
Okay.
You all right, Joe?
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm doing here, which is something. Definitely something.
Definitely something. Oh, I was having a think about, you know, board games and stuff that I could maybe turn into a Minecraft version for us all to play.
Ooh.
And have you heard of? It's not called Werewolves, but Werewolves is the most sort of famous version of it. It's like a social deception game.
It's like
there's another
Mafia.
Yeah. There's another one that's Blood on the Clock Tower, which I think might work better, because werewolves is like only if most people are townsfolk, nobody gets a good roll. But there's another one called Blood on the Clock Tower.
I had an opportunity to play that recently, and I didn't because the person who pitched it says the way they came into the open gaming room at PlayOnCon and says, "Hey, in the lobby, we've got a veteran who's going to be teaching Blood on the Clock Tower," and I'm just like, I think they mean maybe that sounds like the name of a game. And that sounds like somebody who knows the game inside and out. But normally when you think of veterans and clock towers, that's like, there's like sniper situations in Texas and stuff, like, where it's like,
I think that might just be you.
No, I mean, it's just America's a miserable place to live sometimes. But yeah, and I was just like, I don't want to, well, I was already in the middle of a game, and I was like, I'm not going to disrupt what I'm doing to go find out how wrong I am about this.
Oh, well, Blood on the Clock Tower is, it's like werewolves / mafia, but like if you're dead, you don't have to, you know, go and sit in a corner somewhere and just watch the rest of the game.
You're still active.
You're still active. You're still actively trying to solve the puzzle. You're trying to figure out like who's been given misinformation, what the misinformation is, and you still have like a ghost vote where you can vote on the outcomes of things. You just can't nominate. But you're still part of like the team you were on, be it good or evil. You just found Blood on the Clock Tower, and I'm obsessed with it. Yeah, I know. I've not actually played an actual game, but it is. I would call it like a more social. If I was to pitch it, a more social Among Us, where you know the killing is like a regimented thing. The demon offs people in the night. That sort of thing. And I was thinking I could make, unfortunately it requires a lot of people to play, but I could make a version of this for the server and play it. So for example, like if you were a villager, you might get a thing saying, you know whether one of your two neighbors is evil. And you get told a number between 0 and 2. And you have to figure out, but however you could like, there might be another character in the game that makes you poison, which gives you false information. So it's all a bit of an intellectual guessing game, and a lot of it is social. It's like, Mumbo isn't playing as he normally does. He must be evil. That's a lot of stuff.
So when you say you need a lot of people, what's the minimum number that we would have to get together to play?
The very minimum number is the storyteller, which would be me in this case, obviously.
Sure.
And 5 is the absolute bare minimum, and it's a very short game.
But to play like 5. A good game,
you'd need 8, maybe 10.
Yeah, that'd be hard to pull together on Hermitcraft. Except maybe like if we did it. Well, I will say like if we did it as part of like a stream day, like
I was thinking it would make a like. Here's the thing, my brain was going like games for another potential. What do you call it?
Like a charity event.
A charity event, getting everyone together to play this, and yeah.
I think that would be great.
Because it would take a couple of hours to do if it was like a 10-person game, maybe longer.
Oh wow! Wait! A couple hours for a 10-person game?
Couple of hours.
Oh, well, that gets difficult for people like dropping in the middle of the stream.
But also, yeah.
It almost has to be an episode, but then it's not 10 different. Oh,
but it's also one of those things that would do very well on stream, because you can go off and talk to individual groups and you get a different viewpoint depending on who you're following. So, you know, it's one of those. If we could make it work, then it would work.
Yeah.
So.
If we could make it work.
If we could get like a group of people in together. Of course, as the game master, like, but the thing is you go away, you have your little social interactions, and then you all come back together at the beginning and end of days. So it would, like, my thought is like you go, like you do all the charity stuff during the middle of the day, and then they all go off into their things.
Yeah,
and
I guess
they
that's
all come back.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So,
I guess I just kind of feel like a 2-hour chunk, like a lot of the mini games are
yeah,
kind of more accessible for people. Like, even if you hop in 15 minutes in, it's like, okay, don't worry, we're starting the next game in 5 minutes. Like,
yeah.
whereas like a 2-hour chunk is a big commitment.
I know. That's my only thing.
I really almost feel like this has to be a video, but I don't know how you'd get everybody together to record this, because they would know
No,
the
it
views
wouldn't.
won't be there, so they're not going to want to do it. I don't know. Like, I feel like the charity element would slow it down too much too, because like the
possibly
the so if we're taking a 2-hour game and we're adding a bunch of 5-minute reading lists of names in the middle, like that might make it a 3 or 4-hour game. You see what I mean? Like, it's...
Oh no, I absolutely understand.
I'm trying to figure out how to make this work. I'm not trying to shoot it down.
I know, it's just one of those things. I think because we all know each other quite well.
Yeah.
That I think we would probably enjoy it as a group, you know, on a personal level as well.
Yeah.
Because it's a social deduction game. And, you know, because we know each other well, we can figure out who's lying and, you know, and then maybe come up with, like, it would be really good content, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Cam. So yeah, it's like, I mean, it's hard enough to get people together for a game of Among Us.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if I make it, I can bully people into making them play it once, I think.
Yeah.
Because of guilt. Thanks, NJ. I didn't think it was going to work that well, so having it look that nice is pretty cool. Not if you build it, they will come. If you build it, they will feel guilty.
Yeah. I mean, I feel guilty all the time. I've been trying to record False's Elytra course for like 2 months now, but other stuff keeps coming up. Like 120 launched, and I was like, oh. And False worked really hard on that, and I've got a bunch of great footage of us playtesting it that I've been saving for the episode where I do the runs.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I've got this behind-the-scenes playtesting stuff that I'm just sitting on, and it's burning a hole in my thing. Yeah.
Seems like it'd be easy to get people together for a set time every week. Well, I was thinking, like, if...
Well, the game has to be played contiguously, because I think you'll forget the game's state if you don't play it all in one go.
Absolutely.
This is why, to some degree, and, like, I'm not bringing this up to shoot this down, but, like, this is actually a second problem I've been trying to solve. A lot of the hermits talk about how fun it would be to do a D&D game, but nobody wants to commit to 3 hours to do a one-shot.
Yep.
Like, getting 3 hours for 4 or 5 hermits... Sometimes it accidentally happens. Like TCG Tuesday the other day, we ended up going for like 5 hours, and it was a lot of us. Even though you didn't make it that particular week, Cleo. It was a few weeks ago. But, like, if you had asked those people up front, hey, how long can you stay? Some of them would have been like, maybe 45 minutes. I don't know. No,
that's the problem.
Nobody feels confident committing because they're like, well, I don't know where I'm going to be on editing this other thing, and then I'm also got this to do. And, like... So we have a lot of weird stuff like that where it's very frustrating. Trying to get... This is one of the reasons we improvise so much, because that's the only thing where we're like, okay, we'll do whatever we can with whoever shows up.
Yeah.
And we're good at that.
That's the problem. Yeah.
But...
Perhaps you touch base with Impulse. He's been itching to play a game like that and had a group. It's just that the rest of us... The rest are too tired of Among Us.
Yeah, Impulse really wants to get Among Us going again. But like I said, the thing with Among Us is you know that you can drop out. Yeah, in 10-minute rounds, 15-minute rounds at most.
Sounds like it was a miracle in and of itself to have the traffic series. I mean, if there is a project, then
this might be a dumb idea, but hear me out. Would it be possible to do this on stage, or if you could hear the other groups conversing, it would ruin it. Because maybe this is the sort of thing like when we launch.
I mean, it's like, okay, so in my mind, what I was thinking about doing when I was thinking about doing this is doing it on a server with voice chat and rooms would be ideal, because you can't hear what other people are saying if they're in a separate room.
Yeah.
However, it has been done on stage before. Yes. Okay. This is designed to be a one-room game, effectively. So, you can go off in a corner and whisper to each other things that you don't want other people to hear. But yeah, like talking to your minions as the demon and going, okay, you can do this and this, and then I'll do this, and then having people overhear it is a problem if they're talking loud enough to be heard.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to run a Blood in the Clocktower game once a month if people are interested and want to turn up. But it's a case of like they've got to tell me beforehand so I can get the game board set up. Because it's like you can do it. Like, there's a free app it's a free website that runs games, so you get the visuals and stuff. So, yeah, it's just people being there. I don't know what Tennisville is.
Maybe it's like Mario Tennis?
I don't know. But like I say, it's a good stream game. I don't... where you can go in and see multiple points of view. But it's like, if you're just getting one point of view, might not be the best. And also, stream games, people are going to say, oh, did you know XYZ was the demon?
Oh, yeah, that's the other problem, too. Is like, that's why I think Impulse or Tango, when they would do their Among Us games, they would set it to emote-only chat. Like, except for between rounds.
Yeah, that would work. Teenyville, yes. 5 or 6 player Blood on the Clocktower. That could work. But those are very short. So that would be doable.
Yeah, very, very short would, yeah.
Actually, very short would possibly work to get people in the mood for doing a longer game.
Yeah, I think you need the proof of concept first. I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, I've forgotten about Teenyville. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see, we are solving problems here.
There we go. Okay, I will. I mean, I will bring this up. I mean, I can probably get Impulse on board immediately just by showing him videos of Blood in the Clocktower.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I will consider things. Yes. Okay. Yay! It's working. If you guys, if you've never seen Blood on the Clocktower, go and look up who's the best people to look up. I don't think the actual main. You go look up No Rolls Barred and look up their Blood on the Clocktower series. I like them. They've got like 30 odd episodes and they play once a month. No Rolls Barred. Yep, that's the one. If you're interested in it and you have all the time, if you're looking for a series that you can get really into with good people and personality, that's a good one to watch. What am I doing? I am doing...
So what I'm trying to figure out at this point is I realized one of the big things I was stuck on when I was sketching this out is I was trying to figure out how to get all the playfield elements onto the table in a way that made sense. And I wanted to have them kind of arranged by where they were in the electromagnetic spectrum. And what I didn't realize, because I'm using graphite and not like colored pencils, is I had infrared on the wrong side. And I had infrared and UV switched, so the rainbow was backwards. So, because the particular diagram that I had pulled up started with like, it was the opposite of the way that we would normally interpret visible light, you know, like in terms of like lowest to highest frequencies or vice versa. So I realized that I actually want the IR shots on the left, then the visible light pop bumpers, then the ultraviolet shots, then the X-ray shots for the Chandra Space Telescope, or like X-ray Observatory, ends up exactly where I want it. So that's good. And then the gamma ray spinner ends up where I want it. So I've got a lot of this narrowed down. It's just the infrared and IR shots that I'm still kind of playing with.
I cannot help you.
That's okay.
Because I don't understand the design of it.
Well,
NJ says they've picked. Oh, no roll. No, thanks, JT. No rolls barred. Picked up so many games for them. So when Joe, his daughter, and Badger came to visit, we played Herd Mentality, which we picked up from NRB. So there we go. NJ agrees with me that NRB are good.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Not that I needed the confirmation. I already thought they were good. And JT has linked the Blood on the Clocktail playlist.
Cooperated says Joe's looking all fancy with the premium notepad. Well, the thing is, I found that like when you're in like elementary school, you don't care if the paper ages and falls apart, but like once you're an adult and you start like making documents that you might want to reference later, or like working on stories or poems and stuff, having paper that's gonna not be, getting archival quality paper is actually valuable. And so yeah.
Yep. As an NRB patron, my universes are colliding. It's always nice when that happens, isn't it? The people that I like the things that I like. Oh my god.
Evan Netta says, isn't watercolor paper quite good for that? Yeah, but watercolor paper is extra thick, so it can absorb the watercoloring, which I don't need. Like this is relatively thin but nice paper, which is fine for what I'm doing. But yeah, if you want to support me, tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. So, Cleo, do you think we've exhausted the topics we've had so far? Because I do have kind of a bit of a swerve topic-wise.
We can swerve onto topic.
But I want to make sure that we're not. You didn't have any other minigame stuff.
Done.
It's not like urgent.
Pretty much done. But I just wanted to thank Hypothermic Haddock for the 15-month free sub. Thank you very much. Woo. You get finger guns.
Okay, so I've learned that almost everybody watching at home is not commenting on anything on my screen. I've had something in particular in view of the camera with increasing prominence for the last hour, roughly.
Oh, I haven't even seen this.
That's the thing, is literally no one has commented on it.
Oh,
I was gonna be patient, and I feel like I don't want to run out of time to talk about this.
Oh, okay.
So I'll give you a second.
You're not on Twitch.
Oh yeah, sorry. Because they said no more. So I was gonna try and stream to both today, but there was the camera problem. Remember, so I'm on YouTube.
Yeah. Okay, give me a sec. Something on screen with increasing prominence.
Yes.
I cannot see anything. Is this in your camera behind you?
Here. Yeah. Let me go.
Oh, I can't see that, Joe. It's basically invisible.
I'll hold it up for you. Okay. Now, is that better?
Give me a second. Wait for you to.
Yeah, it's 15 seconds.
Is that a car bumper? What's happened to your car, Joe?
Well, the bumper's up here now in the studio. So when I was driving back last night, there was a slowdown, where, like, you know, they're doing, like, construction, so they bring it down to one lane or whatever. Yeah. And they had signs for, like, 3 miles. Slow down ahead 3 miles. Slow down ahead 2 miles. Slow down ahead 1 mile. And, like, I caught a glimpse of it kind of on approach, barely, because of the way this hill was. And I was like, I think the slowdown's going to start, like, right over that hill, so I better start slowing down. So I do. And, you know, we're all puttering along. You know, we come to basically a full stop. I start puttering again at, like, 3 miles an hour. And all of a sudden, I'm rear-ended and being pushed from the back. I think my pinball reflexes paid off here, because without even realizing it, I immediately jerked the wheel to drive into the median instead of hitting the car ahead of me. And so, yeah, fortunately, neither myself nor the other driver were injured. Like, I have to call the insurance company, or there's a bunch of stuff I have to do today about that. But it's basically, the police were there, like, almost instantly, because they, you know, anytime there's a construction site where they're closing lanes and stuff, there's always cops nearby anyway to direct traffic. And they're like, yeah, he's clearly at fault. You know, they're putting that in the report or whatever. So, yeah, I didn't want people. Yeah, I thought about posting this on Twitter last night, and I was just like, well, part of it though was this is one of those things where, like, the hatchback doesn't close properly anymore, and also I had some Cokes in the trunk that exploded. So when I got home, okay, so first we had to get the bumper off, because the bumper was, like, pressing against the wheels, like it was, like, folded under the car. So the highway, there's, like, highway assistance crews that help people who are in accidents or whatever. So they helped me get the bumper off while the cop did all the paperwork. And so we got the bumper in the trunk. The trunk doesn't entirely close properly, so that's a problem. Neither does one of the doors. So there's definitely some, like, frame compression there. Let me switch to the other microphone real quick. Thank you to Evan Netta for tipping. Let me see what that is in USD. That comes out to 8 USD. So we're gonna rotate the camera 8 degrees. So that's gonna bring us to 25 degrees angular here. Yeah. So anyway, nobody was hurt. I was able to drive the car home, but, like, once I got home, the electrical system was messed up a little bit. Like, one of the sensors wouldn't detect that the door was closed, because I don't think it properly was, so the lights in the car wouldn't shut off. And so I'm looking at this at, like, 1 a.m. by the time I get home. And I'm maybe not 1 a.m. It might have been midnight. I don't know. I had to, basically, after I got home, I had to go in with a towel and get as much of the Coke out as I could, so that we don't get too many ants in there. And I had to try and figure out how to disconnect the power to this light so that it wouldn't kill the battery. Yeah. So that's one more thing to worry about. Luckily, we don't absolutely need the car day to day. Miss Goldfox says, I wonder if the car will be considered totaled. I honestly don't know. I have no idea. I would rather have the car than not have the car, because buying a new car right now is a nightmare. What do you call those? Rates are way up. Interest rates are way up. and I don't have money for a down payment. I mean, I guess technically if they total the car, they might write me a check for the value, which, because of the way the car market is right now, the value of the car, I was looking at comparable cars the other day because I was trying to figure out from a financial standpoint, like, I really don't want to have to take another day job until after season 10 starts. I feel like if I can make it until season 10 starts, I can maybe go back to doing what I was doing before. But like, if I get a job like before season 9 ends, I'm not going to be able to be there for the season 9 finale, and there's a good chance I won't be able to be there for the season 10 launch. So part of me was like, well, worst case, what if I sold the car and made $6,000? Because that's like, I just Googled, like, what are 2008 Honda Fits selling for in my area? About $6,000. Maybe I'm not going to actually get that, but that's, you know, what people were asking. So I'm worried, though, that if they total the car, that they're going to give me significantly less than that, because the value of that car before the pandemic was about $3,500. Right. It went up during the pandemic because manufacturing got curtailed, but I don't know if they're going to give me the current rate or if they're going to give me the pre-pandemic rate or try to even go lower. They're like, well, 3 years ago it would have been 3,500, so here's 2,500 or something. Yeah, so the thing is, the insurance company will hopefully get it repaired. Am I going to see a chiropractor sometime soon? I don't believe in chiropractic. Chloe the Great and Powerful Tips 14 says, I hope that guy has good insurance. I hope so too. That's part of what I get to explore today. If they don't, I have uninsured driver coverage through my insurance, and they will cover me anyway. But once again, I would rather have a working car
that I could potentially sell.
Nola says, that's what happened when my car was totaled. The company gave me the value. Well, but wait. But which value? The current street value, or the, like, hey, because this is a car from 2008, we want to give you as little as possible value?
I mean, honestly, it's his company that will pay out the value regardless, isn't it?
Well, but I guess yeah. I don't know. So yeah. I don't know.
I'm sorry that happened to you, Joe.
No,
that is a pain.
It is, and it's also gonna mean, like, if I do have to go back to work, it's gonna be harder to sort that out, because I was counting on having. That was one of the reasons I hadn't sold the car already, because I was like, well, hopefully I'll get something I can do from home. But Miss Gold Fox says, I think they give Blue Book value. Yeah, that's the thing, though, is I don't know if the Blue Book value is reflecting the current market these days, because the pandemic is changed a lot. So a lot of older cars went up in street value. Basically, what I would be able to sell it to another individual for would have been $6,000. But the Blue Book value in 2019 was $3,500, and I don't know what the Blue Book value is today, because this happened like late last night on my drive back.
Yes.
So
that's a lot. So
Little Nine Cat says, I had a 2004 car totaled for current market value. I made double what I paid for it. Okay, so hopefully current market value is what I get. Yeah. So anyway, F. Joliffe says, you don't have to agree, but insults are overdoing it. I don't know who's insulting who. Do I need to time somebody out? Calling chiropractic quackery is not insulting an individual. I think that's a assessment of chiropractic as an art, rather than a science. So, yeah. Quackery has a very specific meaning, and I don't think it's counterfactual in this case. And I mean, actually, insults can be factual. Now, sorry, I'm getting down a rabbit hole here. Like,
yeah, no, I know.
Like, if somebody's like, Joe, you're pedantic, and I'm like, well, that's an insult, and they're like, well, it's accurate. I'm like, well, it still feels like an insult. So, I don't know. Okay. But anyway, core concept. I got the car into the median. Nothing was damaged. Like I didn't hit like I didn't hit like a highway divider or
Yeah.
anything. It was like a grassy median. So we're not worried about paying out anything there. I don't have to worry about the cost of his car because he's at fault. That's his insurance or his problem anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, of the way it could have gone, this is one of the better ways if it had to go this way.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like on the one hand, I like, and that was one of the first things like I said to the guy like when he got out of his car and he's like, "Are you okay? Is there anybody else in your car?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. Is there anybody else in your car? Are they injured?" He's like, "No, they're good," or "No, there's nobody else in the car." I'm like, "Okay, cool. You and I are fine. We can figure this out." Like I wasn't like there was no emotional like because like it was just a bad situation. Like he should. Like, the problem is, if you're going 70 miles an hour down the highway and you come over the hill and there's, like, a bunch of cars going 3 miles an hour, like, that's just not optimal in general. Like, I see how it happened. I'm not happy about it. I had seen the signs way ahead that said slow down ahead, and I was like, I feel like we're hitting about where it said the slowdown would be. Let me just... Yeah. So, like... But, whatever. Yeah. It's fine.
It's not fine.
Well,
however,
it's not fine. I mean, objectively,
but it's best that it could have been.
This is the least bad it could have been. But it is like a whole bunch of extra problems.
It's a whole bunch of extra faff that you, in fact, did not need.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. I have been rear-ended multiple times. And I've been stopped every single time. I've been at a standstill, so...
Yeah, I think it does help that, like, the car... I was creeping forward when it happened, so I was actively, like, paying attention to my distance to the car ahead of me. And when I saw all of a sudden that distance was closing when I felt the force coming from behind me. And this is something, too, where, like, I'm glad the airbag didn't go off. Because if the airbag had gone off, I wouldn't have been able to see to turn the car, necessarily.
No.
Or I wouldn't have been able to, like, it would have pushed my arms away from the wheel.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
No, I get you. It's still always a pain.
Yeah. So, I don't know. This is, yeah. Anyway, we got a tip rolling in from Shifty Pumpkin for 25. He says, hope you avoid future games of real-life pinball with vehicles. Thank you, Shifty Pumpkin. That's going to bring us up to 63 degrees angular. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Is Badger trolling or something about chiropractic? No, Badger is repeating some pretty commonly understood problems people have with chiropractic. This is a known thing. This is like if somebody was just like, Scientology saved my aunt from depression after her husband died. I'd be like, they might have helped your aunt in this very specific case, but on the whole, I do not endorse Scientology. You're saying your aunt was helped by a chiropractor? That might be true, but that doesn't make chiropractic, like, the licensing organization is not great. There's a lot of genuine problems with chiropractic. Badger is not trolling you. Like, it's
chiropractic as a rule is not science.
It's a problem in the same way Scientology is a problem. It's not and I'm not saying it's exactly the same as Scientology, but there's a lot of overlap in that some people who need help and can't get it anywhere else do find it there, but it's not something I would recommend. And I do think if somebody was recommending it in a public setting, if somebody else in the chat hadn't called that out, I would have had to, and I chose not to because I'm like, oh good, the chat's handling this. So yeah, but no, you are not being trolled right now. This is an actual known problem.
Yeah. Jay Archer has resubscribed for 22 months. Says almost 2 years of subbing. Looking forward to the 2 years. That's great.
Yay.
Thank you. Tudium has resubscribed for 28 months and says love the new avatar. That avatar.
The avatar.
Are you talking about the one that I'm currently using or my 3D model? I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. This one is cool. I'm just, my brain is trying to go. The jumper was designed by Blaze, which I think is awesome. Blaze designed the costume for the jumper, but my model was my 3D model was done by Lyra, and information down the bottom. I don't think I've got Blaze in the bottom in the artist panel. I need to do that.
Mm-hmm. Gotta have Blaze in the bottom.
Oh, of course. I'm not even going to say it. Red Steel Eagle has resubscribed for 28 months. Thanks. Thank you. Pragandox has resubscribed for 10 months. Thank you, all of them. Thank you. That's great. The actual new one. Thank you. The 3D model. Gotcha. It's appreciated.
BB.
But this one's cool too.
BB asks, Joe, what do you work as? The only reason I'm asking is because I envy how smart you are on every topic that has ever existed. Oh, no, I'm incredibly ignorant on a lot of topics. I just happen to read a lot about, like, organizations that take advantage of people because I'm trying my best to not accidentally create one.
Yeah, no.
So, yeah, I recommend reading the book Cultish, which talks about how different organizations kind of use cult techniques, like certain gym chains, certain multi-level marketing groups, certain businesses will use techniques that cults developed and perfected as part of their business toolbox, and how problematic that can be.
Can I just drop in here? All multi-level marketing campaigns are a scam. Please don't get yourself involved in a multi-level marketing campaign. They are just there to rob you of your money.
Yeah.
Because you said some, and I just wanted to know, no, all. That's the whole point of multi-level marketing. The people who get in on the first floor are going to get rich, and you will just spend your money trying to maintain your status. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I probably should have said, something else there. My brain.
That's fine. That's fine. I assume that you're as against them as I am.
Yeah, no, I just didn't. I was trying to pick my battles here.
It was just phrasing, and I just wanted.
The phrasing was avoiding confrontation.
I'm willing to pick. That's my battle.
You pick that battle.
Chiropractic. I will have MLMs as like bad.
Yeah.
So you're saying we need to organize an MLN instead of join one. All I'm saying is that they are bad, and if you organize one, that also makes you bad.
Yeah.
It's a fancy way of saying pyramid scheme. Yes, which is why people who say MLMs won't use the term pyramid scheme anymore.
Yeah.
What part makes multi-level? Okay, so the way multi-level marketing works is you, like, someone is at the top, they recruit 2 people, and they get a portion of their earnings, who then recruit people and get a portion of their earnings, whereas basically the money flows upwards.
Yeah.
And like if you're like 8 down the chain, I think you can only get to 13 levels in this pyramid before it encompasses the entirety of the world.
It depends on how many people you're supposed. It's like if it's you recruit 8 people and they recruit 8 people, or you recruit 12 people, they recruit 12 people. You hit the population of the Earth at various speeds, but you do hit the population of the Earth way sooner than you would think.
Very quickly. And then if you're selling it to someone below you in order to get their money to come to you, at a certain point, the market saturation hits.
Yeah.
So if you get, like, on army bases, apparently this is really, really common.
Yeah.
A lot of the army spouses, they, thank you for the train. I appreciate it, especially when I'm talking about this. The army, there's a saturation level of all these companies trying to feed off the same people.
Yeah.
And so they don't sell anything, but they have to buy the product to not sell anything, and their money flows up the chain to everything. Don't get involved in multi-level marketing or pyramid schemes, anything like that. It's bad news.
Yep.
Yeah, network marketing is another way because MLM has become toxic as well. So they're now rebranding to network marketing. Same thing.
Oh yeah, you just sell to your friends. Yeah, I was actually thinking the other day about starting to become a Lyft driver. Although I think my car might have been too old to qualify anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that's off the table now too.
Oh,
Gosh.
Thank you, Paleo for the biddies, McLesley for the Cleo biddies, and Shifty Pumpkin tip $25 that says, "Here's my down payment on Join the Zombie Cleo Pyramid." Thank you. It's not happening.
Yeah, because
I appreciate that.
I like the idea of like the point of network marketing as like the reason they use that word is like, oh, you're selling to your network. You are trusted by your friends, so we're gonna abuse that trust by forcing them to buy makeup that they don't need. And I like the idea of how about instead of trying to sell my friends stuff that they don't need, I find things that strangers need and I provide that. And like driving a car for people does that. Like
Yes.
I've been the designated driver for my friends more often as a way to save money. Because then, like to go to this pinball tournament here or there, it's like, okay, hey, Joe, I'll cover your entry fee or I'll get you this or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, cool. So we're not paying for a lift and I'm getting some of my expenses paid for. And I was like, would it be that much worse if I was doing this for drunk strangers? I don't know.
The answer is never no.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, there's always like DoorDash and stuff, I suppose.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking too. I don't know. Like,
can you imagine you order DoorDash and Joe Hills, who you know from Minecraft, turns up at your door?
The problem with DoorDash is you have to do it at meal times.
Yeah.
Whereas,
true.
like, well, I mean, you don't have to, but that's like where the money is. If I was gonna be like a Lyft driver or something, I was thinking I would want to do it at like 5 a.m. when people are going to the airport.
Yeah.
And like, so you don't have as many of the drunks, and like, that way it's like, okay, I could get an extra like maybe 2 or 3 hours of paid work in at the beginning of the day. I don't know. I'm workshopping a lot of stuff right now.
No, I understand, Joe. I understand.
But yeah.
Well, I am in the process of trying to get everything together to get an agreement in principle.
Yay.
So, money is weird here as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I ordered something from and got it delivered by Joe, I'd wonder what he was doing in Ireland. I mean, that seems fair.
That's fair. Yeah.
I mean, the chance of Joe being in Ireland is small, but never zero.
It's never zero. It's just, well, I mean, right now there is video evidence. It's currently zero. Unless I'm like staging this. I brought my car bumper to Ireland with me. As you do.
It doesn't have to be your bumper at that point.
Oh, that's true.
It has to be a bumper.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to post.
Joe is into the prop comedy.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing, is I actually was like, so they shoved it in the car in such a way that made it like the back door wouldn't close fully, and it's like it was like a problem like the whole drive home. But they were like, you can't leave that here because that's trash.
That's littering at that point.
That's littering. Yeah. And so I get it home and I'm just like, so like the way that my current apartment building does trash, they don't want people dumping large objects, so there's no good way to put large objects in there. And so I'm like, should I just leave this in the car and then drive it somewhere? I'm like, oh, I can't drive it somewhere. And I was like, oh, and also I can't get underneath it to clean all the Coca-Cola that exploded when I was rear-ended because I had a case of Cokes in the trunk. Because I've been trying to save money by not buying drinks at gas stations when I'm driving to long distances. Yeah. And so I had to take it out anyway to clean all the soda out. And I was like, well, I guess I'll just put it in the studio because it's the got the largest unobstructed floor right now. But then I was thinking, like, well, maybe I could do something during the craft stream. Not today, but, like, we could brainstorm.
Oh, yeah, that's a point.
Because, like...
Technically, doesn't it technically belong to the insurance company? They have to deal with it if they're going to fix your car.
Well, I mean... What I was thinking was maybe I turn it into a display piece. Like, I clean it up and then paint it or something. You know? Because, like, this was my first car that I bought myself. I've had that particular bumper since I bought the car in like 2008, and so it's like 15 years. Maybe it'd be cool to turn that into something neat.
Possibly.
Yeah. Polaris says people leave bumpers on the sides of highways all the time in my state. I guess people just don't care about not littering. Okay, well, there was literally a cop there watching me leave. He was not going to let me leave the bumper without fining me and then asking me to remove it. So, yeah.
There's crime, and there's crime when a cop's watching.
Miss Goldfox says, I listened to Cultish on my road trip, and it was fantastic. There's corporate politics between departments at work, and I've been trying to understand the different cultures. This really helped understand their mentality. Yeah, that's the thing, is like sometimes you have leaders inside of organizations who are doing this cult nonsense too. It's not even the whole organization, it's just one manager. But as long as they're getting results, it's like, wow, he really treats his people like family. By which I mean he doesn't pay them a lot, but they love him. Yay!
Yay. Brief request to go over how I set up my journal. Okay, let's do that quickly. My journal is got a very basic setup. It's got the month. There's usually a quote there. Haven't had time because I'm very behind this month. Then I have calendar page for me.
Yay! Cool.
Then I have budget planner. Then I have calendar for budget. Different things. So that one is a personal calendar. That is one for like putting stuff on the budget down. Then I have weekly pages designed how I want. Although my brain has now... I've done the two things that people and mermaids are known for. Swimming in the sea, having scales, and being mermaids. Technically, that's 3 things.
There you go.
So
still a prime number. It counts.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how that works. Still have a mirror that got knocked off my car a few decades ago as a souvenir. Oof. Kidnapping sailors. I'm not doing that. And I don't think kidnapping is the right word for that.
No. Yeah, because kidnapping implies a certain amount of proof of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might just do mermaid colour strips on this next one.
Badger concedes about the me decorating the bumper somehow. Americans do often have weirder things. It can live in the garage/workshop when we move. Yeah, that was actually kind of what I was thinking, was if I could try and turn it into like something that we hang stuff on, or something like, you know, like you hang tools from or something. Just I don't know. I'm it's gonna take. I haven't wrapped my head around the concept yet because I got like 800 other things on my plate right now. But yeah. So
I've got a scale washi tape. Sorry, it's got scales on it. I just realised. Perfect.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so here, yeah. So you know what? I think sometimes it's important to admit when you have a conversation and you realize later, like, maybe I was wrong about that, right?
Okay.
But you don't necessarily want to do that right away, because it's like, you know what? That conversation was like months ago, and like just randomly realizing like one day, like, oh, I was wrong about that. Maybe I should bring that up again. It's like, you know what? Usually, just don't bring it up again, because like if the other person dropped it, like,
yeah,
you might just be like, maybe the way that you're admitting you were wrong is still not helpful, and you're actually doubling down on being wrong in a new way, on something that was completely, you let go and the other person let go. But maybe not. Maybe it's a good time to say, you know what? maybe we do keep the skeleton in the living room, but the bumper goes there too. Maybe that's a compromise. I don't know, Badger, if you're still there, but just throwing that out
Badger,
there.
I'm so sorry.
Because, well, and when this first came up, I will say Corinne's friends were, like, 3 years younger. And I just was like, I feel like Corinne's going to have enough social problems after the pandemic. I don't want to have a skeleton be the first thing her friends see when they get in the living room. But now she's 10. Like, no, that's fine. Skeleton should absolutely be the first thing they see. And honestly, and I'm willing to give this away for free. This is not me saying, like, this is a trade for the bumper. But, if you were willing to, like, because I was also thinking the bumper would go great above the mantle. If we can decorate it right.
I have never been this attached to a car before. Just want
I'm
to say
not
that.
attached to the car, but like now that I have the bumper, I'm like it's captured. It wasn't like it's just kind of like, oh, that's neat. Maybe I could do something cool with that. Like I just want to try and do something artistic with it. And I would want it to be if it comes out like garbage, yeah, let's hide it in the workshop. But if it comes out well, like maybe that would be cool.
I honestly don't talk to me about getting attached to stuff at the moment, because I have tossed so much of the stuff I've accumulated over the years in the last week. It's unreal. I have just turned off my emotional senses about objects, and it's gone. So
Badger says, I don't think the bumper is mantelpiece worthy. We'll see how it goes. That's fair. I'm content with workshop or garage, but I did want to use this opportunity to mention that I realized that now that Corinne is older, putting the skeleton in the living room, as you originally proposed, would be fine.
Picturing a bumper encased in epoxy. Joe can't afford that much epoxy.
Yeah, also, you gotta, have proper ventilation for that, which I don't think I do.
Epoxy is expensive.
Badger says, can we put fancy dress on the bumper, though? Because the skeleton gets dressed up for every holiday. Oh, yeah, that's true. We're gonna have to get your bumper some stuff for American holidays. Because, you don't necessarily have, an Uncle Sam hat for it. Or anything.
Skeleton.
Skeleton.
Yes? Dressing up skeleton.
Yeah.
Not bumper.
No. Well, Badger suggested that
you worded that wrong.
So the way Badger suggested it was like, well, if we can dress them both up, but I don't think that whatever I'm going to do with the bumper artistically is going to work. But I'm saying dressing up the skeleton
is going to work.
Still...
Just full stop. I don't think it's going to work. However,
Anachronistic Cat writes, Joe saw a broken object and his artist brain activated, said, I bet I can do something like that. And
yeah, that's always the problem with artist brain.
Yeah, that's how you end up with too much trash, and that's a problem. But, oh boy. Yeah.
You're doing okay, Joe.
I mean, on the whole, I will say, I spent a lot of my day yesterday thinking about somebody who was very important and influential in my young life. And yeah. I feel like there was a lot of value to that. So that's the other thing too, is it's not if I was driving somewhere completely unnecessary and I got hit like this, I'd be more annoyed. I didn't even, I could have taken the bus, or I could have, there's no way to get to this funeral home in the middle of nowhere in small town Tennessee without the car. This is one of those things where I was actually thinking to myself, I'm glad I have the car, because otherwise I would not have been able to do this. I couldn't take a lift 90, 100 minutes away. They will let you, but it's not cheap. I wouldn't have been able to afford it. I wouldn't have been able to afford to pay a driver. I would have had to rent a car, and even renting a car these days, the fleets are depleted because of the pandemic, so it's really hit or miss if there's availability. But anyway, so I was thinking to myself, no, this is, I was really glad that I went, and I'm still really glad that I went. I think yesterday, on the whole, was a net positive, which is saying something, because this is going to be a real problem in the long term. But, yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I get you, Joe.
Yeah. Badger has a link to the skeleton. Can I post the link in your chat?
Yeah. This is not an endorsement, chat.
This is
buy a skeleton. Kept the side mirror from my car. I planned to attach it to the side of my monitor, but then all my monitors went to flat screen, and it just made it harder to set up. Yeah, that'd do it. Oh, the flat screen changeover.
Yeah. So,
it did seem just like everything was fine, and then flat screen.
Yeah. But you'll see that Badger's skeleton here is actually wearing like a skeleton Halloween costume, which is like the shirt with the ribs inked on it. Yeah. And Badger writes, her name is Temperance Brennan.
That tracks, actually.
Yep.
I can see that. Oh, it's raining.
Oh, no. Or, oh, yes, I don't know. Are you in a drought? Do you need the rain? Yay, rain.
Actually, I live above a chalk aquifer. And, like, I got a notice from the water board saying, you know what? We're probably not going to do a hosepipe ban this year. So, Yay. That's the first time in, like, 10 years that's ever happened.
Yeah.
So maybe we're okay, but it has rained a lot this summer so far, which is better than it being too hot, which is the thing that kills me. I would rather it be too cold than too hot. I don't do well with heat.
Oh no.
Which is, you know, why going to Scotland is good for me. Because the thing that they don't have that are there. Lots and lots of heat.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that I was planning to move to Scotland, when Corinne goes to college in 8 years, that was one of the reasons I was really hoping I could keep this car running for 8 years.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's I definitely don't want to move a vehicle internationally. Like, that's the sort of thing car collectors do, and they're taxed accordingly. Like, you're better off buying a new car when you move, not, or we would try to live in a part of Scotland where we don't need a car. Like somewhere urban enough with good train links and.
I mean, Central Glasgow has an underground system. So.
Yeah, so it's just like, oh gosh, this is gonna be a lot in the long term. Like, it doesn't. The next thing that I absolutely like, there's some stuff coming up that I was gonna go to this thing on Thursday and I was gonna drive, and it's like, well, I think I'll skip it because it's too far to lift, but. Yeah. Then, like, I gotta pick up Corinne in early August from the airport, but I can take the bus there, and then, since she'll be bringing luggage and stuff, we can take a lift back. Because it's only, like, it's like $2 to take the bus, and it's way more to get a lift. But, like, the problem is the bus departures from the airport are, like, once every 40 minutes to every hour, and if you... Yeah. So, like, if she happens to land and we time it perfectly, we can take the bus back. But, like, if she's just been traveling all day, I'm not going to make her sit and wait for the bus for 40 minutes to save $12. Like,
yeah. Have I ever been to Australia? No, probably never going. It's too hot for me.
I mean, just go in July.
I suppose so. That'd do it. But I still think it'd probably be too hot.
Okay. Just as a quick reminder, though, we do this for a living. Cleo has all sorts of ways you can support her, and I'm going to be posting my PayPal link in my chat as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, Castleum! Castleum once again gifting 10 subs to the community. Thank you so much. Woo. That's so nice. Not even 10 years down the line when Pearl hosts a hermit meetup. Like, of all the honestly, considering where people are, Pearl is not hosting a meetup.
I mean, you say that, but also, like, everybody wants an excuse to travel.
That's true.
So
That's
like
true.
you got to keep in mind for some of the hermits where they're like, oh yeah, there's no way we're gonna make this money back off this trip, but it would be fun to go. Like I want to go to Australia anyway. Let's go. You know,
Yeah.
I can't afford that, but
the business can.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I am the business.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah, that's what I'm struggling with right now.
Pearl has been whinging about the cold.
Mm-hmm.
My God.
Because it's 8 degrees Celsius. I gotta look up what that is in Fahrenheit.
I mean, that's chilly. That's pretty chilly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess they don't have a lot of insulation on their houses, to be honest.
Yeah, I would imagine that's not a priority.
Okay. I've got an 8-day thing to do here. Not an 8-day, a 4-day. Pearl has been whinging about the wind. Can we use the word complaining? I'd appreciate that. But I understand. Yeah, 8C is fall weather. Yes, I'm Canadian. I mean, it's only just got above 8 degrees here.
Yeah.
So, you know. Whinging and whining are synonyms, and complaining is better, because whinging and whining suggests it's not valid. Complaining suggests that it's valid.
Well, I think there's a tonal issue as well. You know, like I can be like, you know, I could be complaining like, yeah, I was gonna go somewhere.
Jem! Hi!
Jem is here.
Jem is here.
Jem is great.
Hi, Jem. Hi. Look, Jem, I did a Little Mermaid. I've done pretty things today. I feel validated. Where do you live that it's just above 8C? Iceland. No, I live in the UK.
I think the question was, where does Pearl live? Which is Australia, which is in a different hemisphere.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I'm doing mermaid stuff. Like fishtails and scales and more fishtails and mermaids and scales. Like, honestly, it's mostly scales. Our Sailor Moliander tipped $10 from Salem. Love the mermaids. Thank you. Hearts. I just think it's cute. And now I'm thinking of the last page. Scales and I don't know. Hands folded, wait for Jem's approval. Thank you, miss. I got Jem's approval. Jem's here. There you go. Yay. Said it was cute.
You did it.
I don't need to wait for Jem's approval. I have Jem's approval like on lock usually, except when I threaten to murder people. Strangely enough.
Yeah, because that's telegraphing your attack. Jem just murders people, no threats. Also, Salem, thanks for tipping 10, who writes, woo, crafts. I'm getting some embroidery done during this. Awesome.
Oh, Nikki's purchased 2 Streamers pack. Thank you very much indeed. Big fan. Yeah. What about shells? I can't draw shells very well. I can draw people and apparently fishtails in silhouette, and that's about it.
Fishtails.
Woo! Woo!
Also, I got a nice note here from Polaris North Star, who says, side note, I was watching the video on demand of you and Badger playing V Rising, and I've been loving it. I'm excited to see more. Thank you. Yeah, Cleo, I don't know if you've played V Rising yet. It's kind of a combination of The Sims and, like, a game like EverQuest. It's not an MMO. It's like you host your own server and you play with your friends, but you explore the environment and you kind of level up and get new abilities. So it's a co-op RPG where you get to pick you get to anywhere on the map that's like not too close to a road. You can basically start building your vampire castle, and a big part of the game is acquiring new materials and skills to build new types of things. Like, we just unlocked bookshelves. But then there's also like all sorts of like sculptures and carpets and draperies and different wallpapers. And so, but you got to go brutally murder villages to get the materials for this stuff. So it's like, what if we made
do what you got to do.
Yeah. What if we made a home decor thing, but the home is where your vampires live, and you're basically beginning a wave of terror across the countryside in order to decorate it.
Something new and different for you. No, wait, the other thing. No, that's very much.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Polaris,
Mermaid fighting Kraken. I'm seeing how much of the jellyfish tape I've still got. It's quite like the jellyfish tape. It doesn't feel like I've got a lot. Mermaid singing karaoke.
I do like that the cadence of that fits. Mermaid singing karaoke.
Yes, Joe.
Da, 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 da.
I'm just waiting for the song to kick off at some point on the channel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I might have enough for both sides. Maybe. Maybe not, but we'll see. Oh, no, it's got to go up a bit more than that. Jellyfish.
Woo.
Teeny tiny plushy Cleo, teeny tiny plushy Cleo, teeny tiny plushy Cleo, mini plush. Jellyfish are cosmic horrors. Jellyfish are cosmic horrors. Jellyfish are cosmic horrors. I don't have enough.
Oh, no.
I'll use the other tape. No more. I've got like a bubbly one. That'll do.
Hey, we also got a tip rolling in for 25 from Alex, who says, will you play Homeworld 3 when it comes out? Thank you, Alex. That's going to bring us up to $98, or 98 degrees rotation here. I really liked the original Homeworld, and I intended to play Homeworld 2 on stream, and I never got to it. I didn't even know there was a Homeworld 3.
So no is the answer.
So I would like to, but I haven't planned to. We'll see what kind of hiatus we have between future seasons of Hermitcraft. Because, like, even if I don't get to it between 9 and 10, maybe between 10 and 11, I'm hoping to do this forever. So you will have some opportunities. But yeah, it's I didn't really build my channel around pivoting wildly when new games come out. Sorry. Which sucks, because I would love to have more time to play the new Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But, like, I'm looking at it, like, this pinball machine, I gotta get my act in gear if I'm gonna have this done by the end of the season. Like, it's so huge. And I'm, like, still over here, like, oh, do the pop bumpers go here or here? I don't know. And it's like, oh, boy, I need to know.
Scar's hired me as chief costumer at Scarland, and I'm like, when am I going to get the opportunity to do more of that?
Yeah.
Is finale for season 9 in near future?
No.
No, not near future. But in the future, it's definitely going to end at some point, guys. I promise.
My point is that my pinball machine I'm like months behind schedule on it, and I'm trying to catch up. It's not it's not that the end is imminent. It's that if I don't, I didn't expect TCG to be as huge as it was. which I'm thrilled about. I am having so much fun playing TCG. But like when I was kind of plotting out like my build time for the season, because I wanted it to be something where in the background of other people's episodes, you see the machine continuously getting a little further along just over time. And yeah, that's happening, but not happening at the speed that I would like.
It finishes right when Tango gets decked out done. No, we'll give him like 2 weeks.
Tango has said he's going to have a few months of stuff when Decked Out launches.
Cool. That's
so good. We're not going to launch Decked Out before a few months before the end of the season, as far as I understand it.
Yeah.
But that's, this is not a specific
All
date.
else fails, we'll take Decked Out with us. That seems fair.
We have Decked Out at home.
Yeah.
There's just a new Decked Out in the next season 11 launches, and Tango just digs a 2x1 hole and puts a hatch over top and labels it Decked Out. It's just like you can go in there if you want. Like Decked Out season 3 is this.
At least 4 months away. How close? Jay, Tango has just finished digging out level 4 of Decked Out. That's it.
I've tried to let him know that he can ask for help anytime he wants.
Yeah.
I'm at the point. I really. I was gonna say, I don't know how public you've been about how long you're gonna have a conflict on Mondays.
Oh, it's probably longer than that. I didn't realize they told us 5 months.
Okay, so basically,
at least
Cleo and I are not going to be able to do HHH on Mondays for the next 5 months. I was thinking 3 to 4, but now it's 5. That's fine.
Yeah.
Because what I was going to say is I realized using that Monday afternoon time, because I've been doing 3 streams on Monday, and that was a lot. Using that Monday afternoon time, reclaiming that for editing, actually really helped me kind of
that would help you out, yeah.
That helped me out a lot this week. I got really back on track with my editing. And so I think that I'm... because some people might be like, well, that's when you do the Homeworld stream or the Zelda stream while Cleo's gone. I really think that I need to be using that time for editing because I've been accumulating footage, but I haven't had time to go through it and edit it, and that's really helped me this week.
Good. I'm glad that I felt very guilty about that. I don't feel guilty anymore.
No, that's why I'm bringing it up because I don't want you to feel guilty.
Okay, good.
But yeah,
it's just a case of. I don't think it's a secret anymore. I think everyone's been announced. Pirates is going to go on for a very long time, and there's going to be a lot of stuff to do. And it is streaming only. Mm-hmm. So most of my streams are going to be obviously Wednesdays is carved out for streaming with Joe and Abby. Mm-hmm. But everything else is mostly going to end up being pirate stuff for a bit, mm-hmm. if not for a very long time. So. It's a hole with a Ravager and a cow. Yep, that's what Decked Out's going to end up as in next season. If Tango does this again...
Yeah.
I don't think he'll do it again. TCG Tuesday, when I... Tuesday is my day off.
So you shouldn't be pirating anyway.
Yeah, I'm not pirating. I will come on TCG Tuesday, but I won't do it every week because it is literally the day that I take off. Mm-hmm. Off. And doing streaming stuff is fun, and doing cards and stuff is good. However,
yeah.
I can't do it all the time because I do actually need to do particularly if I'm trying to buy a house. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of extra work. Mm-hmm. Is all I'm saying. So yes, I will do TCG Tuesdays. No, it will not be every day, every week. Yeah. I will try and do the old Hermitcraft stream as well. Because, that's helpful when, that's going to be the only way Scar's going to get what he wants. Mm-hmm. Does stream only mean no videos? Anytime you're on the server. There is no expectation for people to make videos on Pirates. You can, But what I might end up doing is I might just do stream clips on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that's why I was surprised that you were actually streaming yesterday. I mean, yesterday is the first time I've ever streamed on a Tuesday in a good long time.
Okay, Shifty Pumpkin has a good joke here in your chat, but if I may, Shifty, I want to get it across the finish line, because this is like you're 99% there. But I think the actual, like, if we were workshopping this, I think the actual joke is, I do not know with which mechanics Decked Out 3 will have, but Decked Out 4 will be played with planks and cobble. I think planks and cobble is better than sticks and Ravagers.
But I think sticks and Ravagers flows better.
You think?
I'm with Shifty on this one. I think Shifty's got the better version.
Well, you win, Shifty. Cleo wins. I concede.
Not that your joke wasn't good.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You know what? Maybe as I'm saying it, maybe it's not as good as I thought it was. I can concede that.
I think the flow is with Shifty.
The flow. Yeah, we'll worry. I'm not going to worry about it later. I'm too...
And Ravagers are relatively easy to get.
Yeah, I will say I did not sleep well. Like, I mean, I fell asleep. It's not like, I had bad dreams, but, like, I didn't get to sleep until very late last night because I was cleaning out the car and trying to figure out where to put the bumper and stuff. So, yeah, I got, like, 5 hours of sleep. So, okay, I'm gonna make some missteps.
We'll stop soon then, because I'm pretty much done. So...
I'm frustrated. I feel like I'm closer to done than I was, but like I need to go look at some other reference material and sort some things out.
Closer I am to done.
But like I was hoping to be done with this 3 weeks ago, and part of it is that I don't really work on it very much outside of our streams because like I like showing people the process. But like I'm looking at the calendar.
You can only do the process so much, Joe.
Yeah, this design needs to be laid out in a measurable way so I can start punching holes in the playfield. Like,
yeah.
So it's time to get going.
It's time to get going, and I think that's true of me. I am actually done now.
Okay.
And I'm quite proud of this, like, Little Mermaid thing.
Woo.
I was worried because like August is bearing down on us, and I was not done.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I will, hang on, I'm just trying to think about it. Oh no, that's the Thursday off, so we're good. The designs are nice. Thank you. I'm really proud of this one. This one is awesome. I like it. Yeah. Are you ready to go, Joe?
Yeah, we can break into our separate rooms here.
Yeah, I think I'm done. So if you're like, I can sit with you for a little bit longer if you like.
No, I think you're right. I probably should wrap up because I've got to call the insurance company and do a bunch of other stuff after this.
Yes, you do. You absolutely do.
Yeah. So I just thank you so much, Cleo, for hanging out.
Likewise, Joe.
This was really fun.
Okay, I'll speak to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, Cleo. All right, chat, we're going to do last call for tips real quick. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. It would be really super appreciated if anybody who was on the fence about tipping just jumped in on that today, because the way the TCG royalties work, we're not going to see those for a little while, and tips were kind of down last few months because of the TCG, and money's been pretty tight. Like I said, this car thing, I'm not on the hook for it financially, but like I do have other bills coming up that I would normally pay for out of like tips from the previous month or the month before that. But the last 2 months haven't really been happening in that way entirely, and this month hasn't either. So, like I said, this is not like, oh no, I was in a car accident, we need money. It's more like, revenue and costs are not in a happy place, and they haven't been for a while. And so, we're going to talk more about that later, because I got to figure out, I need to get hard numbers for everybody so we can kind of figure out what things look like. But yeah, probably that's gonna be a big thing about the quarterly meeting in August. August 19th is our next Patreon Discord quarterly meeting. I'm kind of looking at it. The basically the math does not support me doing this full time anymore. And unfortunately, the mechanics of trying to do this, juggling this with running a freelance web agency, is also kind of a nightmare. In some ways, the simplest answer is just me going back to working full time somewhere, because then I'll also save $800 a month on health insurance. But, or even if I was working part time doing freelance stuff, I don't know if it would hold me over long enough. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to make what I've got work until after season 10 launches, because no employer is going to give me the flexibility to record the first day of season 10 when the first day of season 10 gets moved 20 times. So, but I don't know. I mean, I did this stuff. I juggled having a full-time job and playing on Hermitcraft pretty well for like the first 8 years or so I was on Hermitcraft, or the first 9 years I was on YouTube. So like, I'm not worried about this. I accept that like what people needed the last 2 or 3 years was something that I could provide. I was in a unique position to provide it, and it was worth a lot of money to them because they said, "Hey Joe, I'm having a rough time. I can't travel. I'm happy to give you this extra money so you can help as many people as possible." And that's not going to be seen as necessary in the same way by a lot of people anymore. And at the same time, I haven't focused on growing my audience. I like a lot of YouTubers and Twitch people are really numbers focused. They're all about, oh, we got to get the number of viewers up, whatever. I've just been trying to put on a good show for the people that are already here. And so yeah, I trying to figure out what I'm going to do next, how to make this work, try to get a soft landing on everything. So in the meantime, if y'all want to support at whatever level you can, I would really appreciate it. But also, I'm saying that with the full understanding that like the world's changing, and what I do isn't as doing what I do at the rate I do it isn't as necessary as it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It might be time to make this more of a part-time job than a full-time job again. So, but I really want to try and hold on until season 10 launches, if possible. So, we'll be talking about some strategies for that probably at the August 19th Patreon Discord chat. Because, like, for example, like, I'm looking at saving some money by not going to Chicago Pinball Expo this year. That seems like a pretty slam dunk in terms of savings. But, if the community's like, well, we really wanted to see you at this other event, like, well, how do we make that work? What does that do? What does that look like? I don't know. Chat got real quiet. So maybe y'all already left when Cleo left. Okay. We do have a tip rolling in. Thank you very much to Gritmonger for tipping 20. So let's go ahead and rotate the camera 20 degrees, bringing us up to 127. Gritmonger, long time supporter of the show. I really appreciate you. So I think we were at 107, so we're going to 127. Did I say? I did not sleep a lot last night because, once again, there's my bumper. I was in a car accident yesterday. Everything is kind of nuts. Okay, we also got a tip from Salem for 100 for slightly less stress. Thank you very much, Salem. It is deeply appreciated. Because like I said, just eventually we will get our TCG royalty checks, and that's going to be fine. But just in the interim, it's kind of tight. So that brings us up to 227 degrees angular. Okay. Mindemy says, just contemplating what you're saying. Nico Nindy says, still here. Sabrina says, listening. Nez says, listening. Yeah, going full-time was a big deal. It's just one of those things that, like, one of the things I've been trying to make sure that I do is that I build a sustainable business. And if this, basically, I'm not relying on free labor, I'm not relying on gimmicks. I'm trying to do what I can to do this right. And like, maybe that's not supportable at my audience size after the pandemic. Maybe that was a fluke for 3 years, but I don't have like let's see. Anachronistic Cat says I also tipped. Okay, let me check on PayPal on the phone. Sometimes the alerts don't show up on the computer. I'll do a hard refresh on the phone here. Anachronistic Cat also just tipped 7 and says, I always really love the craft streams. Thank you very much. That's going to get us up to 234. Yay. Yeah, so, because, like, even though, yeah. I mean, so to some degree, this business was never really self-sustaining. I was, for the last the last 3 years, even when I went full-time on YouTube, I was doing about $2,000 worth of work a month freelance as a developer and helping people with IT projects and stuff. And it was really stressful. And I worked very hard to try to divest myself of those clients to make sure that they were set up to take care of themselves without me, because I really just wanted to be able to focus on Minecraft. But realistically, around that time, we had a short-term boost in income that made me think that this would work long-term. And I mean, 7 months later, it's not. And so we're just kind of slowly bleeding out my retirement fund right now. And every time I dip into that, that's a big hit tax-wise. You have to pay a bunch of penalties. So, yeah. I feel like there's probably some ways I can restructure some things and, like I said, hopefully get kind of a soft landing where I don't have to go back to having a full-time job until sometime next year after Season 10 launches. Even so, like, I'm, like, doing the math, and it's gonna be tight. It's a possibility, but I'm gonna have to do a lot of things better than I've been doing them, and I'm gonna have to figure out which things I have to do differently and which things I have to skip. You know, like, there were certain trips where it's like, okay, I was making these trips because I was trying to meet up with possible sponsors face to face, but like those sponsorship things didn't work out. So that's the other thing, is I was trying to offset some of this with sponsorships that just I haven't been able to like pin down or land. And it's possible that some of those things might still come through, but I think I need to stop spending money pursuing those opportunities at this point. That sort of thing. You know, it's there's a lot of strategy left to do. I was going to be running I was supposed to be auditing my expenses today to make sure that there's no other recurring costs or anything that I missed somewhere. But instead I'm going to be on the phone with the insurance company because car bumper, woo! That is really heavy to lift with one arm, but still lighter than you would think, because like they're made of like rubberized plastic or something now. So I'm going to be on the phone with the insurance companies. So anyway, I'm hoping by the community call on the 19th, I'll have some hard numbers with like solid projections instead of just going like, oh boy. Basically, for the last few months, I was like, well, we're losing a little money every month, but we're doing okay. And now I'm like, okay, I need to know exactly how much, and I need to accept that we're not doing okay. So that's a little bit of a gear shift there. Yeah. So anyway, that's something to be aware of. I don't want people say like, because I've tried to be upfront about the fact that like the show is viewer supported. You know, your tips make a big difference. That's not a euphemism. Uh, but like I said, a one time. This is not like something we solve with a one time fundraiser where it's like, oh, we do a big stream weekend and we try to. It's like no, we need to have a business that makes more money than it brings in, or makes more money than it spends. So that's where I'm at. But yeah. So okay, let's see. NJ says I'll help you where and how possible. Yep. Yeah, I had a call with NJ about this morning, and we're about to have a follow up call. NJ, assuming that you are still ready to take your lunch break. I actually need to go have a follow up call with NJ about this now. So, because basically we're going to be figuring out everything that we need to lock down and audit in order to have solid projections. Because the world is changing quicker than I expected in terms of like how people are like whether or not COVID is gone entirely, people's spending habits have changed drastically versus last year. I thought like, well, even if I'm losing this outside revenue, as long as tips stay stable, we should be okay. But like tips are down drastically and I don't have hard numbers on all of that yet and I need to get those. So, okay. NJ is not ready for the call yet. Okay, cool. So, any questions about this before I go? Because I am no longer in a rush now that NJ isn't ready for me. Like, I'll give this a second because there's chat delay. Looks like there are no questions. All right. Well, that's one less thing to worry about. Let's see if Quinn is streaming. Quinn is streaming. Why don't we go ahead and send folks over to Quinn? NJ says I wasn't going to be ready until 11 a.m. your time anyway, so take your time. That's fine. I'll go make myself lunch. Ned says, is there anything people who can't give money can do to help, like word of mouth? I don't know. That's part of what that's a great question. And that's part of what I'm going to kind of open up to the community for discussion on the August 19th call, because Badger says, wait, Joe, see above. Yeah, I did see. Okay, there's a delay. So Nez said, "Is there anything people who can't give money can do to help, like word of mouth?" I don't think so, but like I think I should open it up to the community for feedback, because realistically, it's not necessarily a great like the launch of season 10 is the best time to onboard new viewers, and the thing I'm trying to figure out is how do I make it until season 10. Like the best time for a big word of mouth push would be at the beginning of season 10. But like, I mean, like I'm very proud of making this stuff available for everyone to enjoy for free, and I genuinely want people to enjoy this stuff for free, guilt free, without paying, that sort of thing. That's part of what I'm working for. That's part of what everybody who does tip is paying for, is for you to enjoy the show for free. So I'm happy that you're doing that. But like, even if I crammed a bunch of ads into the existing videos, that wouldn't actually move the needle on revenue too much. Like the the problem is that tipping revenue is down by several $1,000s a month. Like, I don't know if y'all remember, but like we used to hit like the Jost like right at the beginning of a stream, and we would hit Beetlejost several times a week, and that's just not happening now. And that's just because, like I said, people's needs are changing. What what they needed during the pandemic isn't the same as what they need now, and I would rather live in a world that's improving than one where everything is still that miserable. So that's not a complaint on my part, just an observation. Um, I think the single best thing I can do is try to find a recurring source of revenue that I can use to cover everything. And the single best recurring source of revenue I can think of at this point is a new day job. Partially because now that Quinn is in town, I would have somebody to help me if something happened at Corinne's school. So it's not just, I'm not completely on the hook all the time there. I don't know. But one of the big reasons, though, too, to look at this now is because this health insurance, like one of my. So the biggest. Some of the biggest expenses for the business are paying me enough money to live. And, like, I don't even like where I live. It's just the cheapest place that meets my minimum needs. And we're spending a lot of money on that. One of the things I misestimated was I thought my daughter might be able to lottery into a one of the academic magnet middle schools, which are usually kind of in neighborhoods that are cheaper. And I was like, okay, good. So if she gets into one of these magnet schools in these cheap neighborhoods, we can save some money on rent there. And then that didn't happen because it's a lottery and not everybody gets lucky. So I need to find a way to cover the cost of staying in the neighborhood we are in, which does have a good zone school. And I also, right now, I'm paying like almost $800 a month for health insurance because paying for your own health insurance is miserable. So even if I didn't get the highest paying salary job, like my health insurance costs would probably drop. Like even if I went with like the best healthcare plan they had, I might only be paying $200 to $300 a month for it as an employee with subsidized health insurance. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at there is like the amount of a headache it is to try to run a freelance web development business versus just going and getting a job as a web developer again. It's more creatively freeing for me to just have the stability of the salary job, and not have to worry. Like the part of the problem with the freelance stuff is like I was kind of always on call, even though I was never paid to be on call. Or I mean, I was billing them enough. It wasn't the worst, but like, yeah. I feel like because when I had a full-time job and did YouTube, I was able to build savings. And when I had YouTube and the freelance thing, I was able to basically hold steady. And when I closed out the freelance thing to just try to pivot to YouTube, I've been eating through my... Well, I ate through my savings. Now I'm into my retirement fund that I'm paying tax penalties on. So I kind of feel like the best long-term move for this, because like I said, I want to be playing on Hermitcraft for 20 years. I feel like the best long-term move for this is to try to get back into a point where, like, I'm building savings. And I just don't see a path to being able to build savings where I'm at right now. Yeah, okay, sorry, I'm really rambling here. I got 5 hours of sleep. Any other questions? I'm sorry that was probably not a good answer to your question, Nez. But yeah, if anybody has a next question, I've got some downtime before the call with NJ after all. Queen Dark Lady says, also people's incomes changed. The government offered social safety net during the pandemic, and that's gone. You're absolutely right. A lot of people who supported the show work in tech, and there were a lot of layoffs. And that's the thing too, is like this is, I am not considering myself a failure here as a creator or as an artist. I'm just looking at the world and looking at the economy. No, NJ, I'm caffeinated. I'm not gonna be able to take a nap now anyway. Just you let me know when you expect to be ready for me. So yeah, this is just how this is where I'm at, and I want to be upfront with people, because I know there's some people watching who they want to be self-employed artists, and sometimes you hit something at the right moment and you hope it'll keep going forever, but you don't know, and you need to have a plan for a soft landing. And like I said, things have been kind of there were a few things I hoped would go differently too. There were a few things I screwed up. We'll talk about those maybe more at the August 19th Patreon community meeting. But like I was counting on a few things to go through or to work out that didn't, and I probably should have started trying to cut costs more aggressively across the board earlier. But I was like, well, that's just worrying too much, because I'm sure this will be fine. I'm sure that'll be fine. And then we got this third thing that'll be fine. And then several things were not fine. And none of them are emergencies. None of them are terrible. And just says probably 45 minutes. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do 45 minutes from now. Yeah, I can. I'll make dinner. No, I need to make lunch before I take a nap anyway. So I'll make a lunch, we'll have our call, and then I'll take the nap. And then after the nap, I'll call the insurance companies. But yeah. And there is the possibility too that, like, if I can make it to the season 10 launch and the season 10 launch goes better than expected, maybe things are okay. Maybe I don't have to go back to work full time, but like the numbers don't support that. And part of the problem that's gotten me here is thinking that, oh yeah, if I spend this money, this sponsorship thing will work out. If I do this will work out. There's a difference between being self-confident in your talents as an artist and knowing how to realistically project possible new revenue streams values. And so, yeah, I need to approach this more realistically than I have. Yeah, NJ, no, 45 minutes is fine. 45 minutes is fine. I just needed a number. It's cool. So that gives me plenty of time to eat lunch and digest a little bit before our call. So, yeah. Okay. Was there any other questions? We have a comment from Microbird who says that personally for them, depending on creativity, stuff for income destroys creativity. That's not a problem for me. I don't mind depending on my creative work for my income. I worry though when my income is lower than my costs. That's the part that worries me. So yeah, and one of the reasons I'm talking about this today was because I had it in the back of my head. If things get really bad, I can just sell the car for $6,000, and that'll hold me over for a little while. And like I said, if they, I really want them to repair the car. I don't want them to total it. I want the car back because I need it to take my daughter places that, like, since vaccines came out, I've been trying to take her more places and do more stuff with her, and I was counting on having that car this year. And there's no way I'm going to be able to afford to replace it. There's nothing I technically need the car for now, because everything is either busable or walkable that I have to do around town for the most part. But there was some out of town stuff that we had planned. It's going to be harder to do. Yeah. So part of why this is on my mind though is just, yeah, bumpers sitting behind me on the floor. Hey, we got 12 rolling in from Samuel. Thank you very much, Samuel. Rotating this now to 246 degrees. Woo, do. I don't know if I'm keeping an accurate count here. Like I said, I got 5 hours of sleep. I was up late trying to get the lights to turn off in the car so the battery wouldn't die. I succeeded, but yeah. Okay. Seems like people don't really have any other... Oh, wait, nope, here's something. Shildy says, I feel like you reject a lot of ways other streamers make money, but I fully respect you go through, even if you go back to a day job. Well, that's the thing, is I would rather... If somebody's gonna... If I can't support my art on the merit of the art alone, I don't want to make the art worse. Right? If the entertainment I provide... If I have to start taking certain types of revenue streams that I think interfere with my creative ability to make what I want, I'm just going to... That would make me hate working on the art. If I'm doing work for other people that's completely unrelated, that's fine. Yeah, so usually Cleo and I break into our own chats at the end of the stream. We're just kind of having an extended chat because people had questions and stuff. But yeah, so Tamber says, sometimes insurances will let you buy back the car if they total it. Well, I don't know if it's safe to drive, though. Megan Shaver says, what are the ways that we as viewers can help? I mean, the number one way is tipping. Like, this is 100% just... But, like I said, this isn't something where it's like, okay, I'll do a big stream weekend. It's... We were making a few $1,000s or more a month on tips every month in previous years than we are this year. Like, revenue is so it, like... But it wasn't like, oh, we lost a bunch of big tippers either. It's just a bunch of people tipping $5 a day at random. Not like one person 30 days a month tipping $5, but like just the number of people tipping has gone down, And this was something even before the Twitch problem, and the Twitch problem isn't going to get better anytime soon, and I've got to deal with that. Yeah, I'm not sure if the car would be safe to drive with my daughter in it. I mean, arguably, if something isn't safe to drive with my daughter in it, it's not safe to drive with me in it, but how I value human life might not be perfect. And I'm going to prioritize my daughter to some degree. Someone trying says, you've been an inspiration for me as a prospective artist. I appreciate how you show this side of things, even though it can be a little gloomy. It's nice to be realistic. Well, I mean, I think on the whole, I'm actually in a pretty good situation. I'm playing on in my opinion, the best Minecraft server in the world with some of the most talented people in the world. Um, I have some more money in my retirement fund that I've been bleeding out. I've taken out more than half already. But every time I touch that, the penalties are killing me. So, like, that's not great. That's not a good plan. But, like, in terms of fallbacks, I have some money there. I had the car, which hopefully I'll have again. But like I said, after 2 accidents, because there was already one minor accident a few years back that I don't think would have hurt the value that much, but this rear ending, like, with the way that, like, the side doors don't close right, because I think the car compressed a little bit. Not, like, a lot, but, like, enough. Like, the back of the car is clearly closer to the front of the car than it was. So, like, I mean, arguably, if it's just me driving around town, we don't even need the back doors to open. We just use the front door and get the hatchback fixed for cargo. Oh wait, that works for only just my daughter and I, because once my fiance moves here, we're gonna need the back seat again. Yeah. So I feel like there might be ways to do it. We'll see what they say. I gotta call the insurance company. I gotta have a body shop look at it. This literally happened like 12 hours ago. A little less than 12, or a little more than 12 hours ago. This happened very recently. I don't know. I don't have all the details on it yet. So, okay. But yeah. I mean, realistically, not everybody's going to be at a place in their life where they can afford to support the show. And that's fine. And maybe I just need to go back to work for a few years, and some of y'all who are currently in high school and college might have jobs or might have paid off your loans by then and have a little extra money for me. And maybe the audience has grown organically by then too. And maybe all this will be fine. Victoria B says, you were talking about Lyft, Uber, DoorDash earlier. Could you take the insurance money if the car's total, put it toward a suitable car? Or are car prices ridiculous? Car prices are ridiculous. And interest rates are super high. I'd be better off just pocketing the money at that point and trying to use it to forestall having to go back to a day job. It's not an optimal situation, but trying to reinvest it in a job that required a car would not make sense financially. The only reason to look at a job like that short term to make some extra cash was because I already had the car, and I was like, how can I use every resource I have to the best of my ability? Scorpion says, what's the Twitch problem? I don't think I heard you explain that at all. Yeah, that's because I complained about it like nonstop for a month, and now I'm tired of it. Yeah, they basically said no more no more simulcasting. And so we're not simulcasting to Twitch anymore. And honestly, tip revenue, I would blame that for the tip revenue drop if it hadn't dropped a while ago. That's not solely to blame. It's just like, in fact, it's probably barely a contributing factor, but it is still a contributing factor at all, even if it's a small one, and it would be foolish of me to ignore it. So I need to figure out how I'm going to address that. That's something else to talk about at the August 19th meeting. I'm going to be planning behind the scenes with NJ and trying to figure out what makes sense, but yeah. Okay. So I need to go make lunch because it's 11, and that's when I make lunch. The better I keep to my schedule, the easier the rest of the day is with my dietary or digestive problems. Whew. Okay, so let's see. Is Quinn still streaming? My sister Quinn is working on a new version of Binge Watch Wrap. I'm going to go ahead and link that here. Shildy Freak says, I'm baffled you pay more in health insurance than I have as a student per month in total, but different worlds, I guess. Yeah, so once you're paying for parent and child or family health insurance, it goes way up. And being self-employed and paying for insurance is way more expensive than being a student and paying for insurance. Okay, yep. So I'm going to go eat, and then I'm going to talk to NJ. We're going to do some planning. Like I said, no real decisions are being made until the August 19th Discord Patreon thing. So this is not, like, urgent. It's just... Well, like I said, the safety net might have gotten a little less trustworthy with the car dying. That's why I'm talking about this today instead of wait. I was gonna wait till the 19th, but this car thing kind of threw me off. Okay, so thank y'all so much for hanging out. When you get over to Quinn's stream, the raid message is howdy y'all, Joe Hills right here. Until next time, y'all. This is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring. Do 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 do. Stop.